course of his travels, Tony met one of the men who could have killed him during the Tirpitz operations.
I did a seminar at Berkeley University in California on Tirpitz, and I met an ex-109 pilot who was part of that squadron which missed us.
Yeah.
They missed us over Tromsø, and they were late. If they'd caught us, I and many others wouldn't have got away with it. And I've seen him several times. He lives in California, and I've grown to like him very much. He's a great friend now.
Yeah.
Nice to see him. I'm going out there in November, so I'll see him again. And I wrote a book a couple of years ago, and he gave me his story of their side of the Tirpitz operation.
At the age of 89, Tony returned to the skies, becoming the oldest man to fly a Lancaster bomber. At the end of the flight, he climbed out of the aeroplane and wondered how on earth they'd done it.
I liked the Lancaster. It was a very reliable aeroplane. It was strong. It was a pilot's aeroplane, despite the fact it weighed 32 tons with fuel and bombs. And when I flew it 3 years ago, we discovered that it was a war machine. There was no messing about. It was built for war, and the cockpit was more cramped than I remembered. The controls were heavier than I remembered, and it still had those sharp edges as you went through the fuselage, and the climb over the main spar, and doing that at night with in flying clothing, with a Mae Wester parachute and helmet, all the rest of it. Looking back, did it really happen, or did I just read about it? Yes, the Lancaster was a splendid aeroplane. Sir Arthur Harris called it his shining sword.
Yeah.
And they built 7,700, lost nearly 4,000 in action.
The RAF Bomber Command Memorial will proudly commemorate the 55,000 bomber airmen who were killed. They died in blazing, crashing aircraft, fighting against the enemies of our free world. Tony, along with a group of survivors and RAF personnel, felt that it was a national disgrace that Britain had so far failed to properly recognise this brave and talented group of individuals who helped give us lasting freedom from the horrors the Germans inflicted across Europe.
For 10 years I was chairman of the Bomber Command Association, and since that was from 1999, and from 1998 we have been very busy with this memorial to Bomber Command, because we lost 55,573 airmen in the command. So at last there's to be a memorial in Green Park in the centre of London, and so I've been very, very heavily involved in that. And only on Sunday I was signing, along with a few comrades, and we raised nearly £1,000 for the cause. So yes, I've been very concerned, very, very involved in the last 3 years.
The fight for the memorial has been a long and difficult one, but Tony showed the patience, perseverance and courage and detail which had held him in good stead as a wartime pilot. Work on the memorial has finally started, and the foundation stone for the £6 million memorial to World War II's Bomber Command has been laid in Green Park in the heart of London. This was a proud moment for Tony.
The command fell out of favour.
Yeah.
Even immediately after the war, Churchill distanced himself from us. In his victory speech in May 1945, he referred to many units which had contributed to the victory, but no mention was made of Bomber Command. And we've had a number of so-called historians in the years after the war who felt that the bomber effort, the bomber offensive, really wasn't as effective as very effective. And people gathered around, and they weren't very happy about the fact that a lot of civilians had been killed. Something like 600,000 Germans, civilians, were killed in the bombing during the war.
Yeah.
But what they're all Johnny-come-latelys, as I call them. They weren't part They weren't there, they didn't realise what total war was all about. And we were fighting for our lives. And I know that's very hard to imagine to you yourself and even people much older than you who weren't there involved. But we were fighting a desperate enemy. It had to be one. And they just went on and on and on about madman Hitler. So we just had to keep having. And although our navigation and marking techniques improved greatly, of course, by 1944, we still couldn't be sure at night, if we were attacking an industrial target, that we wouldn't hit a lot of houses.
This is a poem by John M. Milne of 57 Squadron. Bomber Command. A long, cold night, a star-filled sky, a blacked-out world below. The grim-faced crew on faith rely, they'll live to see tomorrow. The searchlights sweep, the hell-sent flak, 1,000 shards of steel. But on they press their bold attack, and hide the fear they feel. For near 6 years, night after night, squadron after squadron shattered the dream of Nazi might, its power a sham illusion. They shared a duty, fate and fear, that forged uncommon pride, and paid a price in lives so dear, more than 50,000 died.